you can see us filming in the pavilion. It's beautiful location, and this was probably about like 8 a.m. I think we've been there since, well, some of us been up since 5 a.m. to get the sunrise, and that's the team. So we had Ryan Morell was there to do some aerial photography with us as well, so we're really lucky to get some nice drone shots, and we were able to get like some really lovely overhead shots of the sea, of the landscape. And you can see here that this is how I started to bring some of the elements from that day into the ideas for the video projection. So again, using the dance floor, that the motif of the checkered floor. And then I really loved the Art Deco of the pavilion. So I think that inspired a lot of the shapes and the way I've used, you know, circles and triangles and things. It's quite sharp. And then the gentleness, obviously, of the dancers with the soft light coming through. A lot of the dancing we did on that day, it was very improvised. It wasn't, I don't think any of us really knew what we were going to get from the day. But I think the Effie and Sam they were so great at just going with the flow and, you know, making the most of what we had on the beach that day.
Very cold on a...
Well, yeah, you can't tell, it was freezing.
Like, endlessly. I mean, we went at that time in the morning because we wanted the sand to be smooth and with no marks on, which it was until the moment that Kirsty went out with her camera, and then a huge greyhound appeared and just went round ever decreasing circles in this lovely clean piece of sand. But anyway, I don't think you can tell the dog footprints from the human ones.
That's it. We just had to go with the flow of what we got on that day. So we didn't use the footage. I mean, this footage is lovely and I used some of it, but I wasn't looking to use it as just how I shot it. You know, this was to be something I was going to turn into a more layered backdrop with my own graphics. But it's nice to see the raw footage as well. It's really beautiful.
So we're going to finish off with a clip from that performance, yeah, which will have taken us through the 3 pieces that have really helped us develop our work. that takes us through the 3 pieces. We were planning to do a project this summer, but obviously that was not possible. However, we are planning to do something a bit bigger next year. We're hoping to link up with a company in the Northeast whose artistic director is here somewhere, I think, in the audience. It will be obviously dependent upon funding, as all these things are, but we would like to, to work out beyond Hull and also to collaborate with other companies so that we can share practice and hopefully gain something from each other. So that's the plan, and we hope to have a new piece by next summer. We'll see where that takes us.
I will just ask, what would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned in the last 3 years?
I think from my point of view, it's been to trust your instincts. I mean, we work sort of fairly much on our own, although obviously see quite a lot of contemporary dance and are aware of what other people are doing. And actually we were really lucky in that we got funding to have some mentoring from Lee Anderson, who's a very, very experienced dancer choreographer. And what that did really was to confirm that the process through which we were working was okay. And that collaboration is that collaborative process is wonderful.
I was going to say that trust is probably the word that came into my mind straight away. And I think it's more that when I worked with you, you gave me trust just to experiment and not, you said what the themes were going to be and and I got that, but I was really allowed that freedom to experiment, and that gives you a lot of confidence, I think, to go a bit further each time. So I feel like the way we work together, I think we're quite in tune with each other, and it's something that I think every year we're going to push ourselves a bit more and expand on this, which I find really exciting. And it's just the mixed media. I think I love taking inspiration from poetry and other cultural, stories and things, and being able to interpret that in whichever way we want to. I think that's it's something you don't really get an opportunity to do very often. Well, certainly in my other kind of work where it's quite, somebody's given me a brief. I think this is great. Yeah, just have that freedom. And I just think, I love the way we just get on with each other so well. It feels a really good, solid collaboration at the moment.
Yeah, the other thing that's really important is good planning and organisation, because of the way things work, that not everybody's always available, and you need to know very clearly where you're going, and especially when there's other people's funding involved. So that the nitty-gritty of organising and time, prioritising is very important as well.
And have you ever had a moment when you first put the film and the dance together, when not the first time, because obviously that was a different setup, but I suppose then when you put it together and something really didn't work or really grated, and how did you negotiate around that? Or did that not happen?
There were one or two because we've been working sort of, at a distance, there were one or two of the images in the first video, in the still video, that I didn't feel worked particularly well, although they were nice images. But again, it was that realising that actually abstract and texture works much better than fixed image, unless you have a reason to. I mean, Pardido was a different piece of work in a way, but learned a lot about, what does work and what doesn't work.
I think one of the surprises was how the projection completely changes according to the space. So if when we did it in the studio, it's obviously a much tighter projection, and actually I really loved some of the shapes that we got from that. And I think it was quite a surprise when we took it to a bigger stage that the look of it was completely different, and it wasn't worse, it was just different. And I think then I had to think, well, how am I going to adjust the video actually to fit this space? So I think it's just a learning curve really of what's going to have the impact according to, where you're projecting. And I do tweak it a bit to kind of like, once I see where the dancers are going, I can then start to adjust the video to make more of of what we're projecting. So it's a fine balance, isn't it, between distracting from the choreography and video that's going to enhance the performance. So I think still something I feel like we're learning as we go along. And
I should say that we plan the performances so they're suitable for non-theatre venues as well. So as long as we've got a box of some sort, and as long as we can keep finding white dance floors, then we want to take these out to places that people perhaps don't normally get the chance to experience contemporary dance. So we need the performances to be as flexible as possible in terms of where we perform them.